Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Packard Network Live. I'm really pleased to be with all of you today. And good afternoon. I say good afternoon to those of you in Europe, and good early evening to those of you across Africa. And I'm sorry to the majority of my network in Asia that's sleeping right now, but you'll get this on the replay. And good morning to those of you in North America. It's great to have everybody tuning into the program today. So I'll acknowledge who's on here live in just a few moments. But in the meantime, I'd like to just do a couple-minute introduction. Might take me a few minutes here because the credentials of my guests today are it's quite a long list, but I'm going to put some great perspective on it. And I'm really pleased today live from Lagos, Nigeria. My first guest from Nigeria, which is really terrific. We have Moyosola Olalekan here, who's coming to us live on a Friday evening on this Good Friday. And Moyo is an exceptional HR and recruitment consultant. She's a talent acquisition. She focuses on talent. She knows how to find talent. And I'm going to tell you something right now that she and I spoke about before, that she has interviewed and placed over 7,000 candidates across, wait till you hear this, different industries, IT, nonprofits, hospitality, retail, logistics, architecture, education, oil and gas, and there's others as well. And I don't know that I've met Moyo, somebody that is able to find talent like you across so many different industries. And maybe it's the fact that I was just a banker and that type of thing, but it's really impressive. And I think last year Moyo recruited over 100 people, including expats for different organizations in Lagos, which have set the pace for her to be regarded as a change agent. So she has part of her legacy has already been written and defined, and that is of a change agent in one of Africa's, if not Africa's, largest economy. So I think that's really great. Her core values are really what attracted me to invite her on the program and introduce her to the network here. And she's a woman of the highest integrity. She is all about action. You're going to hear a lot of that come out in the story here. Those of you that know me, I'm all about action as well. So it's a great compliment that we have on the program and results. And I just explained some of her results. She's an alumni of the Cherie Blair Foundation for Women in the UK. And in February last year, she completed AfricaLive Entrepreneurship and Emerging Economies through HarvardX Executive Education in the United States. There's a lot of educational credentials. She holds a Bachelor of Science, honorable mention in Business Administration, Covenant University. And she basically is a fellow and certified management consultant at the Institute of Management Consultant Nigeria, and an international professional in human resources. So this woman goes beyond just talent and recruitment. She understands the full blown aspects of effective and action-oriented human resources. And she's an associate member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria. And so with that, I'm going to take a sip of water, Moyo, and welcome you to the program. That was a long list of credentials, one of the longest that I've had. Welcome.
All right. Thank you very much. Good afternoon or good evening.
Yes, great. It's fantastic to have you here. And that was kind of a long list. And for those of you that are tuning in live, please, if you do have any questions or anything that you'd like to ask either one of us during this, then just tee those up in the comments and I'll get to that. But Moyo and I are going to start by just chatting about some of her success and how she's gotten to where she's at today. And so as you're hearing any of that, if anything pops into your mind that you'd like to engage with us on, feel free to. Otherwise, she and I will just continue to talk and have a good time here on this Good Friday. But Moyo, just could you just tell me a bit about, in your view, what you're comfortable talking about in terms of how you have wound up where you're at today. All of those credentials, and you're already writing a legacy. You've got a lot of years ahead of you, but how did you wind up where you're at today? Did you design it? You know, for example, when you say you were in high school, you said, okay, this is where I want to be in a couple of decades, or how did you wind up there? Tell us your story.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm happy and great to be here. It's a pretty good Friday, and I wish every Christian also Good Friday that marks the death of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Absolutely.
So also, I'll just talk about, let me just go straight into my struggle. So many people have not heard this story before, and I'm very excited to actually share my story, how it all began. So I graduated from Covenant University 2006 with a second-class upper division, and here in Nigeria. And Covenant University is one of the best private schools here in Nigeria. And so you can imagine, after I graduated, for the first year, I didn't get a job in Nigeria. Second year, I didn't get a job in Nigeria. Third year, I didn't still get a job.
Wow.
You know, I'll be saying this for the first time, that I thought of committing suicide because I felt like a failure. I had a boyfriend then, you know, kind of crazy person who said, so you are now a failure. You know, he asked me a question. I said, so you are now a failure. And I remember telling him at that time that I am not a failure and I can never be a failure. At that time, I knew I had to create another strategy, you know, because the rate of unemployment is pretty high in Nigeria, and no matter how maybe skilled you are, you have to find out how you can succeed and not allow the economy of Nigeria pull you down. So at that point in time, I left that relationship, and I found out that I was I was not actually where I was meant to be. So what did I just do? I went to write my first professional exam in HR, which is the ACIPM exam. And after that, I went for an internship. I told myself I'll get an internship, and even if I don't get paid, at least I'll be employed, I'll get a bit of experience. So that's where the journey began. And from then on, I remember finishing my ACIPM exam, and I was meant to have my internship, which is meant to be a 1 full year internship. And I went to meet several people looking for an internship position in HR. One of them, which is a pastor, told me that he would just sign, you know, like people do it in Nigeria, where they just sign and give you a document that you've actually, maybe their friend runs an organization, and they'll write it that, oh, you have actually done a full 1 year HR experience, so that you can get job elsewhere. But I knew I'll be shooting myself in the foot if I do that. And as a person of integrity and honesty, I didn't think I'll be able to succeed with a lie. So I went about, then I got married. I got married in 2011. I went about looking for a position, you know, any consulting firm I could find. And luckily, I found a consulting firm just 30 minutes walk from my house in Lagos, Nigeria. Yes. And I got there met at the reception, told the receptionist I want to see the HR manager. And of course, they were like, do you have an appointment? And I'm like, no, I don't have an appointment. But however, I was explaining myself. And right there at the reception, while I was trying to explain myself, destiny found me. Guess what?
What?
Guess what?
Tell us.
The managing partner of that company, which is Michael Stevens Consulting, happened to walk into the reception at that point in time. And he saw the receptionist holding a letter addressed to him. And I was like, oh, what's this letter for? And I saw him that it was, immediately I walk up to him and said, good afternoon, sir. My name is Moyosola Olalekan. I would like to work as an intern here. I told him a few of what I had done, you know, and all of that. And he was like, okay. Immediately, he called the consulting department that they should interview me immediately. Guess what?
Wow.
I got the job. I began my career. right?
Oh,
Just
that is fantastic. Yeah, let's pause right there for just a second, because
yes.
and then we're going to resume it, because that is great. So that was a big moment in your life when
Yes.
you had the chance, right? What I just heard from you is that an opportunity presented itself right there, and you
Perfectly.
jumped on it and you got it. I mean,
Yes.
what did that feel like, Moyo, at that moment?
Hmm. For me, at that point, that felt like success to me.
Mm.
That felt like
Mm-hmm.
overcoming everything that has tried to pull me down over the years.
Oh
Over the
yeah.
years.
See, given what you just spoke about right after your degree, okay, and that was a very difficult part of your life where you considered failure, and even it entered your mind about suicide, right? But
Yes.
you bounced off of that, right? And not only did you recover, but you did something about it. And so that moment must have been one of the more special moments, that start. And you basically created the opportunity, 30-minute walk from home. You walked in there, no appointment, and you walked out with the job. That's
Exactly.
amazing.
Yes.
I love that. Hey, Moyo, just 1 second. We're going to start again. I just want to acknowledge some of the people that are here live as well. And for those of you that have not put anything in the comments, please just put in where you're tuning in from. Moyo and I would love to know as well. We have Joe. Thank you. Joe always shows up. Joe's from Miami, Florida. And he always shows up here. And Joe, thank you so much for contributing as always. And Forrest, who is from up north in Canada, in North America, it's fantastic. And we have Songrot, and Songrot, if you could let me know where you are from, that would be terrific as well. And we have Esther Elume. I hope I'm pronouncing that right as well. And Esther, great. Esther already said that nothing stands in the way. Moyo, you'll like this. Nothing stands in the way of integrity and honesty.
Exactly.
It's a good attribute.
Yeah.
Well done to you, Moyo, for staying true to yourself. That's what Esther said. So, Esther, that was very kind words that way as well. So thank you for that. Again, for those of you that are tuning in, just plop in which country you're from, and we'd love to acknowledge you. And then please do tee up questions as we hear more of Moyo's story as well. So Moyo, sorry for that. It wasn't a commercial break, but it was kind of a break I want to acknowledge these people. We've got a total of 20 people, half of which are on LinkedIn, and the others are on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube right now. So I just want to take a moment to acknowledge those that are on. So Moyo, let's continue. So you got the job, right? You're feeling great. Then what?
Okay, so I got the job. Don't forget, it was an internship for a year.
Right.
But guess what? Because of my zeal to work at that time and to show what I was made of, and that I'm also not a failure. I did a lot. I tried to pull myself into the work, like immerse myself into the entire workflow. And I worked literally like every other staff that you will hardly believe that I was an intern. Many of my team members didn't know that I had graduated from university. They thought I was just having an internship, in school. When you go to school, maybe after your third year, your fourth year, they asked you to go for an internship. They didn't know I was a full graduate. I had done the Nigerian NYSC at the time, so it was a lot. I immersed myself into the job, and guess what? Before I was even done with my 1 year internship, I already had 2 jobs waiting for me.
Okay, great. And let me guess here. I'm just going to take a wild guess here, my friend. So I have a feeling that your attitude had a lot to do with that. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, you're correct. Guts. That's it. I got guts.
I mentioned we have this guy named Joe on here from Miami, and Joe's all about, he actually helps people if they don't have the right attitude, he helps them get it. And so he's an attitude expert. And you should follow him. He goes to the gym every day at 3:00 in the morning, basically. And he's got an attitude, right? And it's a good attitude, and he helps others. But yeah, I mean, your attitude to me in this discussion so far is just coming out as hitting me right between the eyes, and it's all positive. And so anyway, I think I knew the answer to that question when I asked it to you, but that's great. So you had two. So basically, you had two offers by the time of the internship.
Yes, I got two offers. The first offer I got, I was already a year plus married, and I've never been pregnant, even if I desired to get pregnant. So when I was say some months into my internship, I got the first job. A year. I was already almost a year. I got the first job. It was on the highland. I live on mainland, so it was on the highland in Ikoyi. And I told them at that interview, because after the entire interview, I was the only one picked and selected to see the CEO of that organization, as scaled to the last stage of the interview. So at that point in time, I had discussed with a colleague of mine where I was working that I think I'm pregnant. And I don't know what my body reaction will be, how I'll be able to cope moving from the mainland to the highland for work. And she told me when I go to the interview, since I'm meeting with the CEO, I should let them know what my condition is. And if they're going to take me on, they will already have the understanding that, okay, she's pregnant, so probably for some time, she may not be her best self. So when I told them, they didn't call me back after that day. So I knew that, you see, why we need to change the stereotype. We need, why we are fighting for equality and equity. You see why we need to keep fighting for it. That I'm pregnant doesn't mean I shouldn't be given a job. Then the second offer I got it when I was more than 8 months pregnant. There were several people that came for the interview, and by the grace of God, as I met with the CEO, I already knew she took me, because immediately we got speaking, she turned her laptop to me and started showing me the career ladder of the organization. Immediately at that point, because I had gained some HR experience, I knew I was taken. And I was asking myself that, can't this woman see that I'm pregnant? I would like to mention her name. Her name is Lanre Oniiton, W Holistics Business Solutions. I'm like, can't she see I'm pregnant? Or maybe it's not, because I'll put on a suit. I'm like, she's supposed to see I'm pregnant. Why is she employing me? But guess what? She actually gave me an offer, And I told her I'm already going for maternity leave. And she waited for me to give birth. When my child was 3 months, my child wasn't taking milk, the formula milk. My baby wanted breast milk. So she had to wait for another 3 months to make it 6 months waiting till I was able to resume as an associate consultant in a firm. So I know she saw something that was very unique from every other candidate. And that's why she had to wait for me.
Yeah. I mean, that is a real leader. And Joe, I know you're on here and listening to this live, but we need to kind of write about this as a role model, this particular leader that hired Moyo back then. I mean, that is there are so many different values that this person has to take a decision like that, and to not only spot the talent, identify the talent, qualify the talent, but then to understand your situation and then understand your son. It's your son, right?
My daughter.
Your daughter.
She's
I'm
8
sorry.
years old now.
I'm sorry. Your daughter at that point in time, and what your daughter needed after birth, right? To even have further patience and to wait 6 months. That is the type of leaders that we need around the world, because that type of mindset and DNA of a leader will prevent so many problems that society's dealing with now, in not just pregnant women, right, but other types of issues as well. So I think that's fantastic. So, okay, so then 6 months later, you started.
6 months later, I started with W Holistic Business Solutions, and along the line, my career has just been one of overcoming one challenge or the other. I don't know if some people may have had this very smooth journey in their career, but some of us have had to, surmount every challenge that come our way. And it's just about never giving up for me, because I just could not imagine I've imagined the kind of life I want to live. I want to be someone that is seen as a success, and all of a sudden, one thing or the other keeps pulling you down. I don't think that's what the kind of life I envisioned for myself. So I just knew I had to keep overcoming every challenge that came. You won't believe that when I started with Holistic Business Solutions, after some months, I can't even remember, maybe after 3 months of probably close to 6 months, I can't even remember. My husband had an health challenge that made him be in the hospital for 8 months. He had 3 surgeries at that time. Yes. Yeah. So you can imagine, just imagine what I was just trying to fit into my job. Then another family
one thing
challenge.
after another, one thing after another.
Yes,
right?
exactly. Yeah. So it's just been me overcoming. And by the grace of God, I think I've been able to keep, pressing on, and I'm happy and excited that I've been able to do that. And that's why I want my story to also encourage other people, that you're down today doesn't mean you're going to, there's no glory without a story, you never have a glory without a story. So that's it.
Yeah, that is fantastic. And then it just, I assume it just compounded. And, it's not perfect, right? I think you're pointing that out, that it's never perfect. And some do have greater hardship than others, right? So, and it's really how you deal with that hardship as well. And I want to talk a little bit about that in a minute. But before we do that, I got a question here. Let's see. Shafak, welcome to the program. It's great to see you. Shafak calls in, shows up to all of these programs. And Vicky Sharma from India is here as well. So Vicky, thank you so much for that. If you have any questions, let us know. Let me see here. I had a question that I wanted to acknowledge that I saw just a minute ago from Forrest, and I just need to find it here. And give me a second. And okay, Forrest, I'm not seeing the question, but I did see it. Maybe could you put it in again, Forrest, and I'll get to it. Got a quick question here from Joe. Wants to know what in Nigeria, how's the government dealing with the unemployment rate right now? Do you have an opinion on that?
Okay, let me just. From my perspective, yesterday I attended a conference or a roundtable discussion for women and girls, talking about the WIMBIs and Jobberman conference, the roundtable discussion for equity and equality for the Nigerian women and girls. So one of the things that I'll say, because a lot of statistics and numbers were actually mentioned yesterday, but we looked more at what really hold women down in Nigeria from actually being in the formal sector. Many were, I can't remember the particular figure right now, the percentage, but I think it was less than 60% of Nigerian women are not in the formal sector. So we have a larger number of Nigerian women in the informal sector. So most Nigerian women would rather, because of, when you are pregnant, maybe the time you're going to take off for leave, or when you're pregnant, maybe you can't really be up to yourself. Not everybody is that capable or that strong to really merge two things together. So because of that, some employers and some policies would not favor women in Nigeria, particularly when you work with even the small businesses, and they are the ones that actually are the highest employer of labor in Nigeria. I've faced that also. I've faced that severally in the course of my career. And I can tell you it's really not so easy for any woman, that most likely is not working in a multinational company. If you're working in multinational, then you are probably favored. If you're working with, banks local, and all that, you are at least you have more considerations than others. So back to the question, let me just.
Yeah, sorry. It was just about how in Nigeria, how are we dealing with the unemployment rate?
Exactly. So I would say that a lot of private institutions, because we can't wait for the government. The government that we have, I'm sorry to say right now, is not, I'm really sorry to say, but the government we have right now is not actually leading Nigeria to anywhere that will be profitable. You know, another election is coming in 2023, and we hope that we have, you know, if the election is not rigged, really, because every youth in Nigeria today is seeking for change. And if you can remember, there was an EndSARS protest in Nigeria last year. No, not last year, October 2020, right? Yes, 2020.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
21st of October 2020, there was an EndSARS protest that led to the killing of many youths, you know, and the Lekki toll gate. And right now, the Lekki toll gate is already even opened. So you see that, what will you call our government? Really, I do not know, but I would say the government is not really doing enough for the Nigerian youths, and even not to talk of women now. So most private sectors are the ones coming up to see, like Jobberman, like WinBiz, Women in Business, and they partner with Mastercard Foundation, and they're coming up to see what solutions can be created for the women in Nigeria and to deal with unemployment. That's why a lot of these organizations support new SMEs that are run by women, so that you can, you know, many women can come out of that situation. You know, many women probably may just be unemployed or depend on their husbands because they can't work, and probably they cannot also run a business. So in Nigeria today, there are a lot of maybe investments that are helping out women, you know, to come out of that shell, because a lot of women have a lot to offer. We as women, we have so much to offer. For me, I always look at giving my daughter I want to be the best role model for my daughter. Really, I want to be the best role. I want her to look at my life and take it as an example, you know, so that when she lives her life, she knows, okay, mommy, even if, for example, maybe mommy works from home, mommy is always busy, mommy is always on the laptop, mommy is always working, and mommy can buy stuff for me without her telling daddy to do that. You know, so I want to raise an independent daughter who's not going to depend on any man, you know, for anything. So that's it for me.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's a great comprehensive answer. And I think that what the viewers, for those of you that have not spent time in Africa, I think you got a general sense that in Africa, there is a big informal economy, and it's not the same in every country. No two countries are the same, but across Africa, there are many aspects of similarity and common thread. And one of those is the formal and informal economy. So Nigeria is not the only one that's structured that way. So I think you gave a great answer, and the importance of international global companies like MasterCard, for example, that are able to come in and join up with the private sector to help create these types of opportunities for women. And I think that's great, Moyo. Thank you for that answer. Joe, you got a great answer there to your question. Thanks for that. Forrest, thank you for take number 2 of the question. This question's from Forrest, Moyo, and then we'll get back to your story here. What do you feel is the main contributor to your mindset?
Okay.
I mean, you just spoke about all of this stuff that you did. You hit the low point, back after the university degree, but you fought back. You never were a failure. You're not a failure. Obviously, there's something about your mindset. We've already talked about attitude. Is it all attitude, or is there something else, would you say?
Okay, I would say that, first of all, I have a very support system. I must acknowledge that today, which is my husband. Kende Olalekan, he has been my support system even before we got married. My husband will literally take a newspaper, buy a Nigerian newspaper and show me, okay, look at this lady. She just has a PhD, maybe in Canada, or she just did this great thing. She just did that great thing. Do you understand? So he knows that there's a greatness inside of me, and he wants to wake it up. Gradually. So, it allows me to be myself. My husband is my biggest support system. My husband is the one that designs my website.
Oh, great. Yeah.
He
And
runs the website. He
yeah, and
updates the website.
and we'll
So it's
put your
like,
we'll put your website later. We'll post that on here as well so that we can have
yes.
that. And it's a very impressive website. So
My husband is my biggest support system, and also my church. I've learned a lot from the founder of Living Faith Church. I attend Winners Chapel, Bishop David Oyedepo. I don't know if you've heard of him, David Oyedepo. So I've learned Bishop Oyedepo is the chancellor of Covenant University, and I'm a pioneer graduate of Covenant University. So there's a lot I've learned with Dr. David Oyedepo. He would say, I remember him saying that, he'll tell you that, for example, he said, whatever you don't want, you don't watch. Whatever you don't resist has a right to remain. And whatever you do not confront, you sure cannot conquer. So those, and he'll tell you, say,
powerful.
It takes discipline to become distinguished. No baby is put on a throne anywhere. So, you have to discipline yourself, pursue. Then a lot, when we were in Covenant University, he taught us a lot about vision, pursuing our vision, that every time I know that I have to do something. I just know I have to. I can't remain on the floor. My life must have a meaning. So, listen to Bishop Oyedepo, Dr. David Oyedepo, Chancellor of Covenant University. In fact, reading his books, that's it. That was enough for me.
Yeah.
Not to remain
sounds like
where I was.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we all have these types of people in our lives that have helped us get to success. And one thing that I want to point out, Moyo, that as I talk to you more, just some feedback to you, is that what you're doing throughout all of this, you're responding to some questions here. And you and I, there was no rehearsal of this. We're just going on live and here we go, right? Yes. But one thing that I've noticed about you that's an exceptional leadership characteristic is that you're acknowledging the role that other people play in your life and your support system and your education, your background, and growing along the journey with you. Not every so-called leader does that, right? And I think you're really spreading those words around quite well, including your daughter. So, and what you have a vision already for your daughter, right? So you're also thinking ahead and to the future horizon. She's 8. You said she's 8 right now, right?
Yeah, 8. She's 8.
Yeah, she's 8 right now, and you already have a very macro vision of creating the conditions that she can live her best life. And I think that's just phenomenal. So there's a little feedback for you there, but I think that's really, I can spot talent like an eagle like you, and I can tell that I got a good one on this program right now. So thank you for that. So that's fantastic. So, okay. Forrest, I know she answered your question thoroughly there. And Forrest says that discipline is a person's best friend. And thank you, Forrest, for that. Appreciate that. And Shafak says, I guess believe in yourself is incredibly powerful. Esther, thank you for commenting. This is Esther Elume. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And she said the present leadership is not sensitive to anything right now in Nigeria. And she also said, Moyo, in response to what you said about the unemployment rate in Nigeria is outrageous. It's 45%. Okay. So we got a lot of people watching this from different parts of the world. Asia will see it on replay. 45% unemployment in Nigeria. Okay. And that would be probably in the formal sector, right, Moyo?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the formal sector. So, it's complex. So these are great questions. Thank you for those of you that are engaging on this. And it is a tough challenge, as Joe says. And one more thing, and then we'll get back to our chat. Shafak says the leader mindset is amazing and leading with your heart. Okay, and I think that's very powerful, and definitely I agree. Shafak Moyo is definitely dedicated to people around her, and I think that's great. Okay, good. So let's. We were talking a bit about women, and I've got just to kind of carry that forward, if you don't mind, Moyo. That
Okay.
Do you have a view on, and it could be a Nigeria view, or it could be just a view that you have of the world, because I know you think broadly as well, but I'm just curious to know if you have an opinion on what men could men do more to support women, in your opinion, or do women just need to do what you've done? I mean, you've defied a lot of odds, and you've just spoken about how your journey and how you've gotten there, but do you have a view on if men could do more to support women, and if so, what that would be?
Okay, so I'll just give, I like to be very practical here. Let me use my husband as an example.
Sure.
So let me just say some things that people don't know. So imagine last year when I started I was a mentee at the Cherie Blair Foundation for Women in Business. It started May 2020 and it ended May 2021. And I had my mentor in Mexico. Yeah, my mentor in Mexico. And we ran, throughout the Zoom, Skype, and, meetings and all that. So she was also very helpful in my journey and starting off my business. But one thing that is very glaring is the support my husband has given. One thing I know that men can do, it's not limited to Nigeria, all over the world, they can do to support their women is support them. For example, there are times I'll have to run interviews as late as 9 p.m., 10 p.m., even 11 p.m. And I don't just have a daughter, I have 2 other sons. So I have 3 kids. My daughter is 8. My first son is 6 years old, and the third one is 2. But at that time, the baby was is it less than a year? Yes, a year, less than a year. And you could imagine how cranky a baby could be. But even in spite of that, when my husband comes back from work and my nanny because I have a nanny that resumes in the morning and goes, so when she has closed and my husband says, I still have interviews for the cover, because I do expatriate recruitment, and probably I'm talking to somebody in Philippines or something, and the time difference. Right. So he has to help me. Sometimes he will back the baby. He'll put the baby on the back, pet the baby, feed him, take care of him, all that. That's the biggest support I could ever ask for. Like, nobody sees that. I see that. Right. God sees that. So if my husband was the type that was not, so men in Nigeria are not just in Nigeria now, this is not just Nigeria, everywhere. So men are not, they cannot, what's the word now? They are not, when they find out that their wives are prospering, they become scared. They feel like they become inferior, or they feel like they're going to be left out somehow. No, that's not the case. He wants to see me succeed. So he supports me in everything, when my nanny is not there. And sometimes I have to probably write a report at night. It will stay up to 4 a.m. and it still helps me and ensures that the baby sleeps with him. Maybe, because, kids can be very funny. They don't see their mama, they want to, so yeah. So the support, you need to support your wife any way you can. And if you don't know how to support your wife, ask her, sweetheart, how can I support you? How do you think I can come in to support you, either your business, your life, your journey? What do you think I can do to help you move from point A to point B? So you may not know, because you don't assume also. You don't assume, so that's it. Right. I think that's it. Ask her how you can support her, and you'll be surprised and shocked at some of the things that she'll, tell you.
Right. Absolutely.
Because we
Yeah.
are all different, we are all unique. So we need to create, especially when a woman has to create a new career path, you need to create new career paths, in order for you not to be stagnated and advance your career. I always talk about career transitioning, and is a pretty difficult, it could be a difficult time, so career transitioning could be tricky. Imagine me when I was moving from working full-time to starting off a business. I had to do a lot of trainings, a lot of online trainings, from this training to that training, a lot,
Yeah, it's endless. It feels endless at times, I'm sure. Right. So, yeah, I think that's a lot of wonderful advice out there for men. And again, quite a comprehensive answer. And thank you for that. I can relate somewhat, having, spent 30 years in elevating a lot of women, that a lot of the things that you said is what, by men being conscious of these, of the journey that women go through in raising a family, right, and doing the things that they have to do, plus working in a career, and in some cases fighting for an opportunity, right? It's very important to have the empathy and the to be wide open to understanding those issues. And if you can understand them well and connect well enough, then you can actually help the women on the journey. And the payoff is huge. The payoff, some of the most successful people, not all, but most of the successful people that I've had the opportunity and privilege to lead have been women. But that required work on their part and my part in order, otherwise they would have never had the opportunity. And so I think you're offering some wonderful advice, or I can relate to that. And I kind of, from a reverse perspective, I would not have had a career without my wife and the things that she did to support my career. Right. Wow. So it does work both ways. And for the men out there, understand it works both ways. Okay. So if your wife or the woman is supporting you, understand that you might need to support the woman as well. And, my wife and I, we've done that both ways. She supported me with the career, and I supported her in recent years with family and caretaking. And it's very important that in any relationship that you get out of it what you put into it. And I think that those are kind of my words, but you've said it more eloquently than I have, that investing and really understanding and nurturing relationships is really what it's all about. So yeah, that's fantastic. Shafak just said, Moyo, that your daughter will grow up watching you, and definitely she's learning leadership at a very young age right now.
Yes, thank you.
So that is fantastic. So good. Okay. I've got one more question here. Have you had any experiences of resistance of either yourself or other women leading men? Have you run into a situation before where some men underneath the woman leader are kind of giving her a hard time? Have you run into that at all yet in your career?
Okay, so the woman being a leader, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
she's a leader, and kind of the men aren't really responding maybe like they would respond to a man. Okay.
Okay, so I think in the course of my career, I know it has happened to a lot of people, but it hasn't happened to me yet. Mm-hmm. Maybe until it does.
Any insight to be shared from people that you've seen that happen to? Anything that way?
Okay, so what I know is, as yes, particularly, let me just say this. Let me speak for Nigeria, for example.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I can't speak for other African countries, but I know that, in Nigeria, we could be very cultural in our behaviors. Our culture and religion forms a larger part of the way we think and in what we also do.
Mm.
So yes, so I've seen this play out a lot of times. But what I would say is, for every woman who finds herself in a position whereby she's being, where they, many men don't want to regard her and her leadership, what I'll say is the woman should own it, own it, regardless of what they think or what they feel about it. Soon enough, they'll come to respect her for her decisions and everything, particularly if she has also been able to grow and build some soft skills like judgment and decision making, some soft skills like communication, excellent communications. No matter, there's one thing I know.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how men want to disregard a woman's position in a company, for example, if that woman is very strong-willed and if she's someone of good character and has good social soft skills, very intelligent, good negotiation skills, cognitive thinking and all of that, flexibility, they would come to respect her at the course of time. They would definitely come to respect her. So I think it's just a matter of time. When they begin to see the results, they will respect her.
I think that's wonderful advice. And, the world is imperfect, right? And so just like success is never linear, right, in nature. And it's tough out there. I think that's also something that I'm hearing from you in your journey. It didn't come easy. You had to, I'm not going to say fight. It might be harsh. Maybe you did, but you had to really work hard with a determined attitude to get and rake up all of these credentials.
Probably I don't even notice.
You don't even notice because you just keep going, right? Yeah, and I think that's really wonderful. So let's we're about out of time here. So I'd just like to wrap this up on a totally different note. Tell us, is there anything about Nigeria that you could tell us that we might not know for somebody like myself that's actually never been there? I've been all over Southern Africa for a number of years, and I have fondness for, and you and I were talking slightly before the program that I never had the opportunity yet to visit Nigeria, and I'd love to someday. But tell us something about Nigeria that you think
so
somebody like me might not know. Yeah.
Okay, so I would like you to come to Nigeria because you need to taste the Nigerian jollof. It's better than the Ghanaian jollof.
Okay, great.
Yes, you need to, and we also have something called the Moyo that is very tasty. You need to taste it. Yeah, very, very tasty. Moyo. Then another food I will need you to try is the egusi and the fufu. Yes, egusi and fufu, very delicious.
Oh, great.
So
Wow.
it could be a little very maybe peppery and all of that, but I'm sure that you like it.
I'm getting hungry now. It's almost lunchtime here.
We have a brilliant culture in Nigeria. We are very respectful. We like to respect our elders, particularly the Yoruba culture where I come from. We respect our elders a lot. So don't be surprised when you come to Nigeria and people are greeting you and bowing themselves, their head down, or maybe the women are greeting you with their tunings on the ground. That's just the culture. Not that they can't insult you if you do something wrong, but they give
I understand.
And honor, when they know that you are much older than them. Yes. Yoruba tradition has a lot of respect, and I think it has rubbed off on me too. So
yeah, that's fantastic. Well, good. That gives us a little taste of what it's like there, and I'll look forward to doing that in person. And my wife and I will look forward to doing that in person sometime. So thank you for that. Moyo, is there anything that before you went on the program that you wanted to say that you haven't been able to say before we sign off? Anything further? You've shared a lot of wisdom with us, and I really appreciate that. But is there anything further you'd like to give in a parting comment?
Is, I'm also a poet.
Oh, okay.
I'm the founder of Poets Factory, You can check us on Instagram at Poets Factory, POETS, then Factory. Yes, I do teach elementary schools. So they have different poetry clubs, and my poetry club just takes all that teaching and raising young poets of African descent. So aside from my HR, I also weekly do that. Yes, we are raising young poets of African descent. I also have 2 poetry books on Amazon. You can check that out.
Great, good. So what we'll do, probably sometime tomorrow, I'll repost the replay of this. The replay, by the way, will be available for those of you just tuning in. I see that we had some others just pop in. The replay will be available immediately as soon as we finish. But Moyo, what we'll do tomorrow, I'll repost it, and then you can in the comment section, I'd like for you to put all of this right about anything that you think the audience might have interest in that you're doing in addition to what we spoke about. I think it'd be great because you're a wonderful woman. You've got a great family. I haven't even met your family, and I can already I can't wait to meet your husband someday. He sounds absolutely wonderful, and your 3 kids as well. So thank you so much for sharing about your family, your journey, your secrets to success, and your observations and advice to men and women about helping other women along the journey of their career and in life. And also thank you for acknowledging the mentors and those people that have played a special role in your life as well. So I really picked up on that right away. So thank you for that. It's great to have you on the program.
Yeah, I really appreciate coming here today. Thank you very much. I'm so glad to share my story. Yeah.
Great. Well, it's great to have you here. And I look forward to seeing everybody again next week. So next Tuesday, I'll announce who and where the special guest is from. It will be in a different part of the world. So I'll keep you hanging until then. And for now, I wish everybody that's celebrating Easter a happy Passover and a happy Easter weekend. And for those of you, there's a holiday almost every day of the year. Okay. And thanks to Google, you can find that. But for those of you that are celebrating other holidays this weekend as well, happy holiday. And thanks very much for tuning in to the Packard Network Live.